So I've personally been waiting on this show for years. It feels like I heard a long time ago it got announced, and you can even ask my friends about this. I'm sure they'll comment on the video, and everybody's receiving it well. Casual audiences are loving it, critics are loving it. A bunch of people are loving it, and it makes me so happy that it's got renewed for a season 2 and a season 3. And of course, what I'm talking about is a series known as Invincible, written by Robert Kirkman. I'm a huge fan of it. As you guys know, I'm a huge fan of Kirkman's work. I own every single Walking Dead comic known to man. I do own some Invincible condominiums, but they're all locked up right now. I don't want to grab them. I'm missing like some variations of issue 100 on Invincible, because there's like, or not Invincible, Walking Dead, because there's like 30. But I'm a huge fan of his work, always have been. And of course, after reading Walking Dead, I heard of Invincible. I was like, oh, I want to watch, I want to read this. And I loved it. So I read it in college, and then a few years later, in my YouTube recommended, there was a fantastic content creator, which I recommend you guys go check out, Danny Malt. It actually sucks what happened to him. Unfortunately, Kirkman's people reached out to him, and he had to pull all of his Invincible comics, but he does comic breakdowns like Comic Storian and all those big dudes. He's kind of a smaller channel. When I was watching him at the time, he had like 3,000 subs. Now he's got like 30 subs. Shouts out to Danny, great guy. But he does like Preacher, The Boys, those comic books that you really haven't heard of. Jupiter's Legacy, which is also getting a Netflix adaptation. So you guys definitely check that out, because it's going to be fantastic. I think Netflix is going to do a really good job with it. Stuff like that. He does like comics and stuff like that. Check him out. Fantastic guy. But he did a whole Invincible series. I don't know if it's still there. I don't know if he found a way to get past it. I haven't watched in a few months. I'm sorry, Danny. But if he has, definitely go check those videos out. He breaks it down so you guys can digest it, and he's very funny, great guy all around. But anyway, those are the 2 times that I've read Invincible about it a little bit, and it's great. Let's start about how do I feel about the show itself in its entirety. It's fantastic. I love that a lot of people go into the show thinking it's a kids show, and they get a fucking rude awakening, and I think that's the best part, and they deliver it so well. Especially episode 1. Episode 1 delivers it so well and gives you like such a solid foundation for an episode of like, damn, you know what I mean? Like, the show starts out good. It starts out your typical superhero show. It's basically about a kid named Mark Grayson. His dad's a superhero named Omni-Man, who's one of the biggest superheroes in the entire world, who's part of a kind of like the Justice League. They're called the Guardians of the Globe, which is like the Justice League of society. And they basically are like Earth's defenders, and he's like Superman, and there's like a Batman and a Wonder Woman and whatever. And he's basically his mom's like a real estate agent, and it's it starts out your typical superhero show, right? And then eventually Mark gets his powers. His normal kid at first gets his powers, and then he becomes the superhero Invincible, right? So far it's kind of like the foundation, but it's more than that, because it's not for kids. This show is very fucking violent, just like it is in the comic book. It touches a lot of dark themes: gore, blood, puke, shitting on yourself, bodily fluids. It shows like what the superhero, like if Superman was to hit somebody. It's hard, like everybody compares it to The Boys, which is a fair announcement, but I feel like animation's a lot worse, because you can push animation to a very, very, very strict point, because it's cartoon, so you can get away with a lot more shit than you could realism. Now, The Boys gets away with a lot. The Boys gets away with a lot, and that's why it's one of the best grounded superhero shows ever, because it pushes that fucking boundary. But I feel like even though it is still realism, animation, I feel like animation get away with a lot more than like what TV shows can get away with. Like, I feel like you have to change the ratings and stuff like that. When animation, you can go pretty far, but that's just my personal opinion. Anyway, speaking of the animation in the show is fucking fantastic. You feel the animation, you feel the gravity of these characters. Like when Omni-Man is punching somebody, or Mark, or Black Samson, or Robot, or Monster Girl, and there's a punch or there's some sort of fight scene, you feel the impact of these punches. It wants you to show how strong these characters are and show you the god level power that they possess, it's fantastic. They do it so well. When they're playing catch, him and Mark covers the impact so well. When Omni-Man's fucking killing the Flaxans and goes into the portal and destroys their universe, it captures all that well. Now, one of my biggest things that I want to talk about that I really loved about it. Now, as far as the animation goes, it's fantastic. I think the animation looks really good. It has its parts where it does CGI and it looks really bad. You can tell. I'm not going to sit here and tell you like it looks the best in the world. It looks great. For entirety of all 8-9 episodes, animation is fucking on par. It does have some CGI moments that do look fucking terrible though. It's awful. And I don't know if that's just because rush, timing, whether they thought maybe it'd be overlooked, maybe they couldn't do animation, you know. And I'm sure it's going to get better as the budget gets bigger, okay, because it's well received. That's good. It's already got renewed for season 2 and season 3. So animation's fantastic. It does have some weird CGI moments, but overall it shows beautifully well done, and it covers the comic book essence so damn well. It covers it well. It literally, there's shots for shots out of the comic book. And I don't want to go into too much detail because I don't want to ruin the series for you, so I'm not going to do any spoilers. And what I do, I'll talk about it at the end. I'll say spoiler and put it on the page or something. But it's great. Animation looks good. Voice acting, another thing we need to talk about. The voice acting is great. You got J.K. Simmons as Omni-Man. Okay, J.K. Simmons has done everything. He has been, God, I mean, he's fucking,
You serious?
What's the dude from Spider-Man? I can't even think of his name. Fuck, what's his name? James Jonah Jameson. I don't know why it went through my head for a second. James Jonah Jameson. He's been, I mean, J.K. Simmons has done everything. Fantastic voice actors. Stephen Yeun, Glenn from The Walking Dead, which is, what do you know? It's Robert Kirkman. Of course he's gonna, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we see more Walking Dead characters show up. I think there are some that I probably haven't. There's a bunch of supporting guest characters like Robot, Rex Explode, Monster Girl, who are all great, but those, of course, Stephen Yeun, Mark Grayson Invincible, and Omni-Man really carry the show, and whoever plays Debbie the wife, they do a really good job. All the voice actors are great. The emotion there is there. There's some scenes in this show that are very emotional and very intense, especially episode 8, the final episode, the season finale is very, very emotional. Even though it's getting memed, I fucking hate you guys. Even though it's getting memed, it's still really good. Like, I can't, it's still a great show. The emotion's there. They cover a lot of deep topics. You know, it shows you like a real ground, like the especially the last scene. I don't want to get into too much of it, but there's basically a huge battle between two people, and it shows like the horrors of being a hero, right? It shows you like, this is the shit that you signed up for. This is not fun and games. This is real. Okay, this is real. This is what's going on. And it's fantastic. I think they did great. Like I said, the voice acting, the animation is great. Now, I guess it brings down to my overall opinion. Like, what do I think about the series entirely? Like, what do I think about it? And I think it's great. I think it's fantastic. I honestly give it a solid 9 out of 10, just because some of the animation is weird with the CGI. But that's it. Like that. Other than that, it's great. I highly recommend anybody go watch this. It's fantastic. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the comic book and the show, and kind of what I like about what the show did compared to comic book. So they're they're kind of merging it, but it's changes that I don't mind, like stuff like that. The interaction between Nolan and Devi, and she actually finds out he murders the Guardians, that never happens in the comic book. So seeing the interaction, you know, her finding out her husband fucking killed these people, and watching him punch holes in the wall and lose his cool, you know, because he really does love her and shit. That is great. Just like, I love how they did that so much better. Did that change to like the modern era? Just like little shit like that makes the series so much better. I think they did a fantastic job. So I actually personally like the series better than the comic book. I still recommend reading the comic book because it's the original, you know, and it's fun to see the changes. And sometimes, like I said, the changes are better. I think season 1 of Invincible is better than the first 12 issues of the comic, because it takes those issues, or those dynamics and those problems and those, you know, whatever, and it heightens those and gives it, you know, more emotion and more feelings, you know, and stuff like that. So, and like literally the ending scene of episode 8 is literally like word for word out of the comic book, but it gives it so much emotion because you have Stephen Yeun and JK, you know, just at their best, and it's just so good. They did a fantastic job. Like I said, I don't want to go into too much spoiler territory. I like it. Like I said, I liked it better than the first. It takes place for issues 1 through 13. If you kind of want to know where the comic's at, kind of want to read it yourself, that's where it's at. It's out of order, so you'll see a lot of events. Certain things have changed, but I think they've changed for the better. Once you read it, you'll understand. But a lot of the characters that I like don't come till later, unfortunately, and I don't want to spoil anything. But there's actually an Easter egg of one of them that I can actually talk about. Yeah, so I can actually talk about this because it's actually in this. Oh no, I don't want to talk about it. I'm not gonna ruin it. But yeah, a bunch of Viltrumites that I like haven't showed up yet. A lot of the characters I like are Viltrumites that will show up later on. There's a lot of cool characters that are going to change and make characters, push characters to their limits. There's a bunch of scenes later on down the road that we'll probably see, like season 4, 5, and 6, that I want to see if they even show or fucking redo. So far, they haven't shied away from nothing. Especially like episode 8, like the whole train scene. Which you guys know I'm talking about. I don't want to spoil it, but you know, the train scene. That was new. That's not in the comics, so that was interesting seeing that. Or at least that, not to my memory. I don't remember that. So, yeah, I love how brutal it is. They haven't shied away from it, so maybe Amazon will go the distance, because you guys know there's some controversial shit in this comic. So I'm excited. Overall, 9 out of 10. Invincible is a fantastic series. Definitely recommend it. If you have kids, do not let your kids watch this. This is not a kids show. I repeat, it is not a kids show at all. It comes off like that, but after the end of episode 1, you'll find out real fucking quick. This is not a kids show. But it's great. 9 out of 10. I can't wait to see season 2, season 3. See how many other actors are they going to get on board. What do you guys think about Invincible? Please leave down below. But again, I liked it a lot. I think it's fantastic. I might do a spoiler review, kind of talking about the direction of where it's going to go if this video does well. But overall, 9 out of 10. Definitely check out Invincible. If you have friends that are really big comic book friends that, of course, are mature adults or teenagers, definitely let them check it out. I think they'll like it a lot. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know down below, what do you guys think about Invincible. I'm out. Peace, people.